Hey everybody, welcome back to a little very brief midweek stream, I guess, or early week stream, whatever you call a Tuesday. That's early to me. No, it's close enough to the mid because I'm already through the workday. Anyway, happy 20 years of The Sims. I thought it'd be kind of fitting to at least post something or do something on the 20th anniversary. So I didn't want to let it go without at least getting something in, even though it won't be much. Not doing so hot right now physically. Hopefully you guys can hear me. I don't even know. Nobody's in chat, so, or at least I don't see anybody yet. We'll wait and see if they are or not. Maybe not. Okay. Anyway, I've got a separate. Look, I love this. 4,194,000. I don't even know why it does that, but I haven't played that many games. Trust me. I just don't know why it does that. Anyway, I'm gonna pop in and show you guys something that I worked on after I finished the stream the other night. Last night I had a really rough night. Actually, I almost ended up in the hospital. I thought I was having a heart attack, and I'm having a lot of issues right now, so I'm hoping that it's not what I think it is, but it's bad. So anyway, alright, so what you're looking at may not look that impressive, and hopefully if the music's too loud, please let me know, because I really don't want to actually have to come back and redo this again. But if it is long, or if it is loud, let me know now so I can stop it. This is a house that I built, and it doesn't look real fancy or anything, but it has a lot of significance to me. This was my childhood home. This is the house that I grew up with. So, and I mean from basically when I was in 3rd grade all the way through college. So this was the house that I actually remember. And it was something I had decided I was never gonna do. But I just got a wild hair and decided to do it. And it came out okay. It's not perfect. I had to take a lot of liberties with it. But I've kept to the spirit of it. What I found is a lot of times when I was going through it, it brought back a lot of memories, good and bad. And so it was kind of hard to make it. And but I'm glad I got it done. But I was going to walk you through it, show you what I built. And I'm going to post it out in the gallery. So if anybody wants to play with my childhood home, you sure can. Anyway, basically, let's take a look at it here. This big room over here on the side, the house that we lived in actually set back farther from the road, and this side over here was a garage. It came in from the side, and so this is all completely, fake. I had to just leave it as a bonus room, and that's exactly what it is. So this right here, this empty bonus room, whatever you want to make it as, like a gym or studio or whatever, would typically be the garage. This room right here, this was a fantasy wish fulfillment from many, many years from my family. We always wanted to put this bathroom in as an extra bathroom. However, in reality, it was a storage closet from the garage. Anyway, I went ahead and just relived the fantasy and made it into an actual fully functioning bathroom, which I thought turned out pretty well. This was actually true to life. This was exactly what we had. We had our nice laundry room. And it was also the room where we put our pet stuff. Our pets had free reign of the house. However, we put a lot of their stuff in here. And it did have some cabinets and whatnot, which I decided not to put in because I wanted to put in the litter box and all this stuff. But it also, at one point, had a big deep freeze. It wasn't one of those stand-up like a refrigerator. It was those long, flat ones. And that's why it had this big open space back here. But that was back in the day when they did that. You just didn't have to worry about it. This little hallway, as usual, this was actually where we kept our keys and everything. And I was going to put that little board from, I believe, Parenthood. I was going to put it up here, but we never really had a board. We just had a key rack. I want to say it was on this side right here, and I don't remember what we had over here. But we did have something on both sides. Anyway, this kitchen, ironically enough, this wood paneling and the wallpaper on top, the wallpaper's not exactly the same, but it was pretty darn similar as far as it did have a floral print. And it was halfway up to the top with wood paneling. It was nicer wood paneling than this, but it was wood paneling. We didn't have wood floors. I think my mom always wanted wood floors, but we did. And we had a round table in here. This was basically our kitchen dining room table, or our family room table. We always came in here to eat. This was the normal. And it was a bigger table than this, but pretty much. And we had our old style phone that sat on the wall right here, which we don't have them in The Sims 4, but I would have put one there. I have many memories of being stuck to that stinking cord because we didn't have portables, we didn't have cordless, not at that point. It took many years until we did, and I would always have to walk, and you could walk outside, but that's about as far as you could go for privacy, unless you went to one of the back bedrooms. The kitchen, it is pretty true to the house as far as when we remodeled it. Originally, the kitchen was actually much smaller, and even after we bought the house, my mom was like, I don't know where my brain was. Why would I choose a house that had such a small kitchen? And this one's not much better, but this is what we did to it. We actually relocated all the appliances and whatnot, put the heavy stuff on the back. Back here were double ovens, which of course they don't make those in The Sims 4, but that's what was back here. And then we did have our stovetop. But originally you had the double ovens on this front side, and you had the refrigerator, which really made your kitchen look even twice as small. But we extended it and we pushed this basically about 2 feet into the dining room, and made our kitchen a little bit more bearable. So that's kind of what I did here. I just took it as the way it normally was. This was our formal dining room, and the only thing I didn't put in here is we did have a big chest right here. I just decided not to put it. There was one in the game, and I could have put it in there, but I decided to just kind of do away with it. Just because I just had horrible memories of always being stuck in this chair right here. This was my chair, and I always ended up having to fight that stupid thing. So it's kind of the bane of my childhood memories. That and the fact that my dining room table over here, this was my dad's seat, this is my mom's seat, this is my sister's seat, and you know who got the crappy seat over here in the back. Because trust me, once you got in here and they sat down, you couldn't get out. You were trapped. You were trapped here forever. So anyway, yeah, I have memories. I have memories, and some are good, some are bad. Anyway, our wall was this kind of this yellowish color, which I never liked, but once we painted it, my mom's like, we're not painting again. So we just left it at that. But the furniture's not the same, but it did have kind of these same colors in it. We did have this yellow and green, or gold and green. It was the 70s and 80s, so come on. I mean, it was back in that day. So we did have this. The ironic thing is our chairs were not too far as the style. They were very similar to this right here. The only thing that was different is that later on in life, when we grew up, we ended up getting a piano and putting it over here on this side. And that was the only thing that was really different in this room. These pictures, I know they don't mean anything here, but they were important to me because my great-grandmother, she was a really, really talented artist, and she had a bunch of just magnificent paintings, which we still have to this day hanging up in my mom's house. Anyway, we had them all throughout, and 2 of these paintings were my favorites that she's ever done, and so I just wanted to make sure I put something up there to kind of remember them. And my favorite one was this one right here. I don't even know what it was. I know where it is in my mom's current house now, but obviously there's nothing in the game that would match. Anyway, over here, our door was very I don't want to say unappealing, but it wasn't really a standout door. It really wasn't. So I had to take a liberty. Ours was only one side, and then the other side was just the wall. We always wanted to do something different, but it was one of those things that I just don't think my dad ever really wanted to pull the trigger on remodeling that part, so we never did it. But this was our foyer entryway, and ironically, this pattern right here on the floor is pretty much what we had not only here in this foyer, but also in our kitchen. And we had a mirror here. There was a closet right here, just a little coat closet, but I didn't want to actually make the house any bigger because I was kind of pressed for size for the size on the sides of this lot, so that's why I didn't put it. Otherwise, there would have been a little closet right here. This room right here, of course, is our den, and it turned out okay. I mean, it's not that bad. Again, with the painting that my grandmother did, our furniture wasn't like this, but it was very ornate and very big. So it did have this blue and gray color in it, so that's why I found this to be pretty much the ideal. And this was basically the layout. This was a recliner. It didn't actually match these. It was a different offset color, but it went really well with some of the highlights in it. But we don't have recliners in the game, or not any that I saw, so I went ahead and just chose that one since it matched. We never had the rug until, gosh, I think I was in high school when we finally got a rug, and it was a massive rug. I don't think it really was my favorite thing, but you know, I'm the one who had to actually fight that thing when it came time to clean and vacuum and all that mess. So anyway, we had a fireplace. Our fireplace was much more impressive than this one. However, this was the closest one I could get that would actually come anywhere near what we actually had. This was actually big built-in bookcases. I don't know if any of you guys are old enough to remember those, but we had them in all the houses in our neighborhood. So everybody had these huge built-in bookcases that came with the house, and then there was an open area. Bookcases continued on top, and your TV would fit. And we had that big old console TV. I tried to kind of go with the spirit of it, not really replicate it as perfectly, but I tried to get somewhat in the same range, and I think it worked. It's basically, this reminds me of my den going when I was at home. Alright, a hallway here. This is a 4-bedroom house, if you didn't know. It's a 4-bedroom house, but this little room right here is our bathroom, and I don't know why I put these doors, but I did. But this was pretty similar to my bathroom. It was kind of a 2-part bathroom. It did have a door here which would actually connect you or separate you from this part. This was the actual setup. The only thing we didn't have, actually we did have this. We did have these stupid sliding doors. I hated them. Hated them with a passion because they're hard to clean. But yeah, we did have these. And then this was a little different. It was a big walk-in, or not a walk-in, it was a reach-in linen closet. And then right here, this was actually the AC, the air conditioning, and the water heater unit. Well, actually, this was the AC. The water heater was over by the utility room that I showed you earlier. We did have a double sink here, and so my sister and I had to fight over it because there wasn't a whole lot of room in here to get ready in the morning for school, but that's what we had. When we moved into the house, this first little room right here, this was my bedroom. Color-wise, I don't think we really did much as far as this color. I believe it was a blue color. But I decided not to go with blue. I decided to go with green, so I kind of kept it the same. Furniture-wise, I had a TV and a little TV stand, but I did have a dresser that was kind of like this, a chest of drawers that stood up tall, and I did have a desk, and then I had tons of toys. I had a bunch of junk. My bed was pretty normal, but I had, you know, like the typical kid, I had like the Star Wars sheets and all that kind of stuff. I had all that junk. So I had to just come up with something that would be pretty generic. But it was a double. It was a double-sized bed. I never had little twin beds. Actually, I take that back. I had it one time, but not when I lived in here. My sister had this room, which is the room I wanted, but she called it first because she was the oldest. So she got this room in the back, and they didn't have the window that we had over on the side. It was a really weird shaped window. It was a rectangle. So I tried to come as close as I could with it. These windows, by the way, in my real house, they were actually what they call window box windows, where they pushed out just a little bit, and you had a bench right here where you could actually sit and you could look out, and we put stuff on there. You know, my sister, I think she put stuffed animals and all that, and I put all kinds of junk on mine. Anyway, that was the only thing. You couldn't really do it in this one without actually building a little bit more of a weird shape, and it messed up the roof, so I didn't do it. This room was the small, I guess you'd call it a nursery. We turned it into an office, but at some point in my life, I started in this room, got bored with it, asked if I could move over to this room, and I moved over here, lived in this room for a while, got tired of it, and then moved back to this room. Then my sister moved out, and I moved to this room, and that's where I ended up. That was my absolute last room in this house. But everything else was pretty much the same here. We did have a bookcase right here, and I kept that bookcase for years until it fell apart. Just because that was the kids' bookcase where we kept all of our stuff so we could share. But I do remember, and I was going to put a bookcase in here, but I figured I've got one here, one here, one here, one here. I mean, how many stinking bookcases do you need in a house? So that's why I just kind of left it blank. But that's what we really had in the house. This hallway continued on down to my mom and dad's room, and it's pretty close as far as they had bigger furniture, so it took up a lot more of this room. They had the full king-size bed and whatnot. The only thing that they did not have these two back windows, which I always thought was the most ridiculous thing, that they didn't give windows to the back of the house. They only had these two windows and a door. But other than that, everything else was pretty much the same. The closet, you couldn't get to it from inside the room. You had to get to it from this wall, but it doesn't work when you turn it that way. So I had to actually just make an arrangement and just kind of put it over here. Biggest horrendous thing in this room, this whole house, was this teeny tiny master bathroom. And if you think this is small, you should see the real one. The real one was pitiful. We all complained about it, and even my mom, she's like, the two areas of the house that you really look at, that you really want to make sure you get right, are the kitchen and the bathrooms. and we messed up on both of these. But we were so tired house hunting. I remember that day well. I was sick. My sister was sick. I think we were throwing up in the front yard. It was awful, and we just had to get the house. We were down to the wire, so we ended up buying it. We loved the house after a while, but it was one of those things that you had to fight this. So anyway, but the bathroom did turn out to be pretty much the same. I put a little clutter in this house, but not a whole lot. Again, I tried to keep somewhat true to the color schemes in the house, but it wasn't 100%. I tried, but I couldn't. This patio turned out almost identical to my patio growing up. We did have the door out here. This over here was like the pump for the pool, because we had a pool and everything. We had all the stuff that you'd actually use over here. It was behind a little gated area. And we had a shower, one of those little outdoor showers. I was going to put one in here and I forgot about it. So speaking of which, I'm going to go ahead and do that now. I'm going to take these two guys out. And I believe this outdoor shower, this was one of those things that even though we had it, nobody ever used it. The reason is you didn't use it because it was so dadgum cold outside, or by the time you get out of the pool and you come all the way over here, you really didn't want to do it. You didn't want to use it. You're already kind of dry, so we didn't bother with it. But that was really legitimately there. It was an outdoor shower. This grill and this patio table, we sat around this thing so many times. We had a lot of good memories here. My dad was just like really skilled at barbecuing out, and our neighbors would come over all the time, and I remember so many nights just out here at this patio. The pool was real, but we didn't have, it wasn't this close. Our yard was much bigger and it backed up quite a bit, so this was kind of a little walkway, and it went over, not really a ditch, but it's kind of a gully that was in the yard there, so it made a little bridge that took you over to the pool area. And this was close to the pool, but it was hard to do the pool right. We had the regular diving board, not this diving platform, and we had the slide back here in the back. So I tried my best to do, like I said, the theme of it, but I really couldn't do the exact stuff. We had this little wall that went all the way around. First it was a wall with railroad ties, and then we had rocks in the little garden that was in between it. Then my dad and I ripped that out, and we bricked it. We did it ourselves. We bricked that whole thing, made this little half brick wall. It was beautiful because we made it step down, and then we put these other rocks that were in between, kind of with some plants and whatnot. But I didn't have the room to do all that with the lot size. I didn't really want to go any bigger, and I thought I don't really need to go that detailed, but you know, it was part of it. And our yard had a million trees, so I didn't put that many. I just put a couple of them. This part of my yard, nothing grew. It was like Death Valley. Nothing grew up here at all. This part, you had a decent amount growing, but then you had this huge hill on the side here right at the edge of the pool, so it wasn't the greatest. And then this was the only decent area we had, this part and this part. It was much bigger than this because the yard kept on going. And this is where we'd come out, we'd play football, and we'd have fun and do things, and then we'd rake leaves and jump in the pile over here. It was a lot of fun. That was a different time, things that I did differently. But this is basically, like I said, the house I grew up in, and if you actually look at it and you go to my house that I lived in, it looks pretty darn close. It's not 100%, but it is close. As far as the shrubs and all the stuff in the front, I tried. They don't have the shrubs that we actually used. We used more of this style, but there were like different varying sizes of it. Yeah, I know you could size down things in The Sims 4, but I hate using those kinds of cheats in case it messes something up. So that's why I just went with this oversized grass, just to kind of get the same look of shrubbery out there, but not have to do any kind of cheats. I didn't do move objects or any of that kind of stuff in the house. I never do it if I don't have to, so that's why I just decided not to. And again, the house actually set back, and this front walkway, it didn't go straight to the road. It actually came out, made a curve, and went all the way around, and it then connected to the driveway. This right here, Death Valley Part 2. Nothing grew. Nothing grew at all. This part grew like a golf course. It was insane, and I spent many times, messing with this yard because I was basically in charge of the yard. And then we had this huge ditch in the front, which, trust me, was scary when you're trying to mow it every week. But anyway, that's my house. That's what I grew up in, and so I was just really excited to make it. Like I said, I was apprehensive at first to do it, but I think it turned out pretty decent. I haven't play tested it, to be perfectly honest with you. I was going to, but looking through it, there was nothing in here that really looked like it would stop anybody or stop any kind of sim traffic, and I think it covers just about everything. The only thing I didn't put in here was a thermostat, and I believe that probably wouldn't be a bad idea to go ahead and do. Our thermostat in our house was actually originally located right here. So I'm going to put it there just because that's where mine was. I did not put the fire alarm. We did have a sprinkler system. We did have, or a fire system as well. So just because, I don't think you can put it here because of that, because you're on the side. I believe I'm going to have to take out one of these guys, or I could just stick it there. Which, actually, what we had here, ironically enough, is we had a bug zapper. I don't know if you guys ever had those growing up, but they had the little neon light. It would attract the bugs and it would just zap them. It was so awful, but we had it there. And then we had speakers up underneath the eaves of the house, because our eaves, they overhung just a little bit. These don't overhang at all, but they would overhang. So we had a speaker there because you could actually play music from inside the house. We had an intercom system, which, believe it or not, where was that intercom system? I think it was here. I think that was where it was. We had one here, and then every room had a little box where you could play music all throughout the house. It worked maybe like 1 year, and then that was it. It was done. Nobody ever liked it because you turned it on, nobody wanted to listen to it. Plus, it sounded like garbage, but that's beside the fact. Anyway, I just thought it was kind of interesting. I spent my time building this house, and I thought, well, maybe you guys might want to see it. I enjoyed doing it. Like I said, it brought back a lot of memories. If my family saw it, they would be ripping it apart going, that's wrong, that's wrong, and that's wrong. I'm like, I know. You just got to get into the spirit of it. So, but it did come out pretty close. This was never an impressive house. We were always kind of like, it doesn't have the curb appeal that we wanted, and so we always were trying to do something different. And so I played around with it after I finished building it, and I built a little kind of a little deck out here. I kind of made this come out a little bit kind of like this, but I made it with a porch because my mom always wanted a porch, and it looked okay, but to do it in the real world would have been very expensive because you would have basically had to redone the whole roof to make it match and to get everything right. So I can see why we never did it. We kept looking at buying a new house, but we never did. And my last memory of this house, when I moved out, I didn't know that the last time I left the house would be the last time I ever walked in it. And it's kind of sad because even today, I'd still love to go see it, but I have driven past it because my mom and my sister, they both still, with their families, they still live pretty close. Not real close, but close enough that we can drive over. And the people that bought it, they just let it go to complete disaster. It looks terrible. The pool, they've let it just basically cave in. It's awful. I look at it and it broke my heart the last time I saw it. So that's why it's kind of hard for me to go back and see it in the real world. But I thought I can recreate it, my version here in The Sims, and nobody can mess it up. At least not in my game. So they can't mess it up here. Anyway, thought you guys might enjoy it. Let me go ahead and just save this one because I think I've made all the changes I'm going to make. And we're going to change it. It doesn't need to be Rippling Flats. I was going to call it by its old address, which I could, but I'm going to just call it my childhood home because nobody would understand the address. So my childhood home. And let's see, this one was 4 bedrooms, unless you count that bonus room as a bedroom, which you could. 3 baths, which we only ever really had 2, but that was it. Okay, this is a recreation of the home that I lived in from 3rd grade. 3rd grade and through college and beyond, which was not very much. Maybe like a year. Anyway, through college and beyond. Let's see. It still stands, but is nowhere, but is nothing, let's just use that, is nothing like it used to be, and this restores it to my best memory. With several, I'll say this, with several, nobody ever reads this stuff anyway, I don't know why I'm writing it, but I'm writing it anyway, with several liberties. Alright, so there we go. So anyway guys, my house, like I said, I'm proud of it just because I never thought I would ever be able to do it. I never thought I would be able to actually sit down and take the time doing it, but I did, and I thought you guys might enjoy seeing it. I know that this bathroom doesn't have a window, but neither did this one. and neither did this one, and that was the way it was in the real world. I don't know why. Maybe that was something that you were allowed to do, but now I think you kind of have to have a bathroom window. But no, these never had windows. This never had a window. This room had a window, but it was a teeny tiny little window, and I didn't like it. I was like, no, we're going to have a big window. So we had that. And this one I decided, yeah, I could have put a window right there over the toilet, and I thought about it. But then I decided, nah, I'm going to leave it as is. So anyway, would love to get your thoughts on it, what you think about it. I know, I mean, like I said, it's not the most impressive home, but for me, it had a lot of memory, it had a lot of meaning, and so I just kind of hope that you enjoyed the story behind it. Not that it's much of a story, but you'd enjoy it, and you'd enjoy seeing just a little glimpse of what my life used to be like. So, which is not like that now, but that's okay. That's beside the point. All right. Hopefully you guys are having a great day. I know there has been a new update, a new patch for The Sims 4, and I believe we got a new hot tub, which I haven't even seen yet. So why don't we go take a look at it real quick before I actually drop out of here. It's outdoor activities, isn't it? I believe it is. I don't ever know where this stuff is. The best thing I always do is just look it up by the stupid hot tub. Well, it said outdoor activities, but I guess not. All right, so this is the one. I know the one that they showed. I'm going to just stick him out here in the front yard. I know it's goofy. Can I get down there a little bit? All right, well, that's not bad. I mean, the one that they show on the picture is the one with the real, all the overdone lights and everything, which, like this one right here, which is cute, but I mean, yeah, it's a little obnoxious. You got to have the room for it, but it's all right. But I like it. I like the fact that they gave us this. Apparently, from what I was gathering, it looks like we're going to get more than one thing maybe this week. I don't know. So I'm kind of hoping. Ooh, that's nice. I'm kind of hoping we do. But, you know, it's kind of nice to. Oh, I think that's the one they showed. It was this one. It was a little bit darker. So it kind of looks the same. Or maybe it was that one. I don't know. It was very gaudy on the picture. And I thought, oh, I hope that's not the only one. I hope it had other ones. But some of these, yeah, they're fine. Some of these actually work pretty well. And I think you can make it. Oh, that's nice. That would have actually worked probably with this house somewhat. Anyway. But yeah, that's the new thing that we got. And we'll play around with it a little bit. So, alright guys. Hopefully this was fun for you. I hope I'm having a better night tonight. I've been having some pain, and that's why I had to get up. I was laying down because I was having a lot of pain, and then it started getting worse. It intensified, so I'm just kind of trying to sit up, but I don't know. I'm getting nervous because this has been going on for a little while, and these symptoms are new. They've been going on for a little over a week, and I'm supposed to go see the doctor tomorrow, and I'm hoping that it's nothing too serious. So anyway, guys, thank you all so much for watching, for being around. Again, happy anniversary to everybody who's played everything from Sims 1 all the way today to The Sims 4. I know we've kind of heard some rumors about The Sims 5 and their little online component. Not crazy about that idea, but hey, we'll wait and see what they do. So don't have to go that route, but you know, that's what I've heard. So we'll wait and see. Nothing's definite. Nothing's for sure. I don't think they've made any official announcement. They've just kind of talked about that possibility or whatever. Something like that. Thank you all so much for being here. It's been so nice to actually see some of your faces and some of your comments and whatnot. I cannot tell you how it makes me feel every morning when I get up and I pull up the email and I get all these flashes from YouTube that says somebody made a comment. That's just, it's a really happy part of my day. So guys, thank you so much for that. It does make me very happy. This will be out on YouTube very soon. I'll be back soon as well, and then we'll get some more stuff going. So guys, thank you all so much for being here. Thank you for watching. I'll see you next time.